Your Authentic Self is a podcast designed to guide you towards a deeper, more rewarding life by nurturing your emotional, mental, physical and spiritual well-being. We're thrilled to take you on this journey. Welcome to today's episode.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Your Authentic Self podcast. Joining Lee and myself today, we've got Joanne McGee. And Joanne helps women turn their pain into power. Quite a claim, Joanne. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that phrase and how it came into being and a bit about yourself?
It is, yeah. So my journey is, I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So I'm from a council estate. I was born partially sighted. So I was brought up, you'll never achieve anything. You're never going to earn your own money, have a job, etc. So that became my whole life. So I've had a lot of trauma from suicide attempts to rape to depression, anxiety, narc abuse, like mental abuse, like anything you can think of. And that's how I lived my whole life. So I was in and out of toxic relationships. I got to say about 40, so I turned 50 this year. So 10 years ago, I turned 40. I looked in the mirror and I thought to myself, I need to do something different. I need to change. I was like at that desperate point. I couldn't be any lower. I thought, I'm a single parent. I have no job, no way of getting one because I have no qualifications, no experience. So I'd never had a job at that point in my life. What can I do? So I joined a gym. I've never been to a gym before in my life either. So I joined a gym, hired a personal trainer and never looked back. And that became my first reality of being in that positive environment. Everybody in the gym's obviously trying to better themselves, so you're all on the same page, whereas my home life was very like depressive and I hated it and I didn't like myself, no self-worth, all of that. So I joined a gym, hired a personal trainer, and then I started to like lift weights, and then I started to gain muscle and I got stronger and I liked the way it made me feel. It empowered me, but it also helped my mental health as well. I suddenly realised. So that's why I exercise now. So went on to do powerlifting, which I won. I've gone on to do like boxing matches for charity. I do like gym shoots. I've done all that. So I've had a huge transformation over the last 10 years. But when I turned 45, so 5 years ago, I actually obviously no qualifications, etc. But I wanted to get into work. So I thought there's no other way apart from me doing it myself. So I joined a network marketing company.
Right.
So I was in Herbalife for 5 years. I actually quit this year, 2 months ago. So I'm very new at quitting that. But it was a lot of my transformation as well, because network marketing is 80% self-development.
Right.
So it gets you out of your comfort zone, you're mixing with people, etc. So again, like-minded community. I always felt like, because I had so much trauma and I connect with a lot of people like this, I always felt like I could give more than just the exercise and the nutrition, which obviously for me go hand in hand with your mental well-being anyway. So then lots of women kept messaging me, I couldn't do what you do, or I wish I could do that. And I had this this thought, I need to write a book. I need to tell them they can. So that was the mission behind my book. It's no matter where you come from, what you've been through, you can achieve anything in life. So I connected with a lady on social media, did a collaboration with 9 other women. So there's 10 stories in the book. That went straight to number 1. That was released January, straight to number 1. And that writing that book led me onto such a self-discovery journey again of my own.
Wow.
And my chapter in the book is called Turn Your Pain into Power.
The book, Joanne, the book, just so people know, is called From the Ashes, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's called From the Ashes because it's a collaboration, and then we all have our separate chapters in there, 10 different chapters. So Turn Your Pain into Power. I heard that actually at a Herbalife meeting. One of my friends said it, and I just went, and when the book came out, I went, that's what I've done all this time, is just feel that pain and turn it into my own power. So that's what I'm going to call it.
So it's a good title. It strikes me that, you describe the trauma that you kind of had early in your life, and then how going to the gym really helped with that. It just strikes me that's quite a brave kind of step to take, you know, to kind of go into this environment you said you'd never been before, stepping out of your comfort zone? I mean, did it take a lot of bravery, or was it more just desperation?
Oh God, no, I don't even know to this day how I even went and joined. I don't know, because I went with my daughter, made her come and walk on my own,
Mm,
because obviously with being partially sighted as well, I was always nervous of new environments,
mm,
because like, so even when I joined, one of the personal trainer had to do it for me because I can't see it.
mm,
So obviously, yeah, so no, it was a huge step, and to this day
mm.
I still don't know how I've done that, but that was obviously that first step of me on that journey, which I didn't know. To me, I
Yeah,
was just joining the gym.
yeah.
So, so to think that that one step of doing that, where would I be if I hadn't have done that? Where would I be today? But yeah, that's led me on
Mm,
this journey.
yeah,
That's huge information.
amazing, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know, I was just thinking about, you know, what you said you don't know what it was that pushed you into that. I'm wondering if there's something like a force or a power. I mean, I might kind of say perhaps your soul was trying to get you to go on a journey that's going to be very healing and useful for you. So I don't know whether you'd kind of agree that whether you call it soul or not, I'm not sure. But was there something like that you think that might have helped?
So at the time, I obviously didn't realise this, but now I'm huge into like the universe, the law of attraction. Um, so it was obviously a sign, because like looking back, and I was like, I had this sign, I need to join a gym, but where's that
Right.
thought come from? So I've just believed that it was obviously meant for me, and the timing was right as well.
Yeah.
Timing's key, I think.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's good. Because Lee and I kind of, kind of agree with this idea of there being like a soul part of us, you know, that might be trying to look out for our well-being. And it just felt a little bit to me like your soul might have been trying to, you know, get you down to that gym so you could begin your healing and you know, to
yeah,
use your phrase, turn your pain into power. Yeah. Did
yeah,
it sound like that to
well,
you, Lee? Did it sound a bit soul-like to you?
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
I thought it was.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
go
on,
carry
Lee. We're all trying to speak at once. Yeah, I was
on.
saying to you, Lee. Did it sound like that to you? That it could have been soul kind of driving Joanne to?
Well, definitely, because up to that point, as you said there, Joanne, there was a lot going on in your life previous to that. There's been a lot of pain. There's a lot of trauma. You've been caught up in a lot of belief systems about yourself and the world, and that would have been just continued down the path that you was on. But there was obviously something underneath that was then leading you somewhere. No, this enough's enough now. This is there's something else for me. There's someone else I can be. There's someone else that I need to be, or where I need to go. So I think that's what Mark's touching on as well. So it was something else underneath there that took you, even that first time down to the gym, and someone else showing you something different, showing you another way. I don't know if that resonates with you or not, Joanne.
Yeah, it does, definitely. And at that time, I never had any identity of my own, because I was just like the sister that couldn't see, or the sister that was sexually abused, or just a mum. I never had my own identity. So I think, like you talk about the soul, I think that is probably right. I was like looking for something, but didn't really know that I was looking for it at that time.
I
Yeah.
think that's what we went back to as well. I think what Mark was saying, you were saying then, is because you were saying then that you had these ideas. That's mind. The mind had the ideas. I'm just a mum, or I'm just this person with this trauma. This is just my life. This is just how I do it. That's just all mind telling you that. But actually, so had another way, another idea, and wanted you to go somewhere else.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And strange, isn't it? Like, well, not strange, but your soul took you to the gym effectively, and other people's souls could take them somewhere else. But it sounded to me like your soul getting you to the gym was fundamental, not just for your healing, but then for the work that you did with others. Yeah. So what do you do? You say now you help women turn their pain into power. What do you do if a woman came to you with trauma? What would you do? How do you help them?
So I am a trained NLP practitioner.
Right.
So that is, like, people who don't know, neurolinguistic programming. So NLP enables us to teach our brains, our own awareness, how we process the language and the words that we use within ourselves. So that's basically what it is. But an easy way I like to explain it to people is it's like the science behind the law of attraction. That's what it is.
The
And
science behind the law of attraction.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that. So like what Lee said, limiting beliefs and stuff like that. So as you're obviously through your childhood, I was told you will never have a job or you will never do that. So then that will stick in your subconscious and that becomes reality.
Okay, because I was just thinking some people listening to this may not have come across the idea of the law of attraction before. Yeah. So I mean, I know what it means, but do you want to say a bit about that?
So the law of attraction, there's a book I will recommend. It's The Secret, and that's how I very came across it. So it's like they may have heard things like thoughts become things, or thoughts become or what you think about you are, and things like that. So another thing to do with NLP. So at the bottom of our brains, there's something called the RAS, which is a reticular activating system. So the language that we use for ourselves, so like self-talk. So if you say to yourself, I can't do that, then that RAS will send a signal down, and then you'll be right. You can't do it. But if you think positive and tell yourself you can, then that also sends that same signal down, and you can do it. So it's like a lot of it's self-talk and what we, yeah. So does that make sense?
It does,
yeah. Sorry, but yeah, it makes sense to me, because this is something that I do say to people as well. I think along the same lines that you're talking about, Joanne, because I say there's two people in this world. There's people that tell themselves they can, and people that tell themselves that they can, and they're both generally right.
Yeah.
Because if you tell yourself you can, you're not even going to start, because you've already written yourself off. But the people that tell themselves they can, you just keep on going until it happens.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's it, on a similar sort of line of what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I really admire, though, Joanne, your kind of, I want to come back to what I said about courage. You know, like, okay, you were driven by soul and you've got your NLP training, but I don't know, there's something very brave, I think, about, you know, what you've done and turning around your trauma. So I just want to kind of acknowledge that. So just coming back again, I'm a woman and I'm coming to you and I've had some trauma, and you're going to use NLP to help me with this. So what might I expect if I came to you and you did your NLP magic?
Yeah, so obviously it really varies, because sometimes I will just do general coaching depending on the client. So at the moment, I've got a client come to me. Hers is actually, she wants to be healthier. So she wants to lose weight. But again, anything we do, if it's business related, if it's friendships, if it's like family, fitness, it all comes down to that mindset, that subconscious and limiting beliefs you have that's holding you back. All comes down to that. So one lady's come to me and she wants to lose weight. So I'm coaching her at the moment around that, which is just general coaching. But what I will first do is, before I ever take a client on, is I send them a list of questions out. I email them some questions to give me an idea of what their issue is to start with. And then once they filled them in and sent them back, I then jump on a call with them, because obviously then we go deeper in it. So, and what you'll find with a lot of clients is, a lot of them you'll ask them what the problem is, and they'll talk with their logic brain. So like we're talking now. But once you go deeper, something will come up that they didn't even know was there, and they'll say, oh my God, where did that come from? It's like, do you know what I mean? Because that's in your subconscious. So sometimes you do it and they're not even aware of it, that you're doing it. You're just asking them questions, which makes them think about the answers. But so my job isn't, they've already got the power inside them. My job isn't to give them the power, it's to help them unleash it themselves. So obviously I don't give them answers to these questions. I ask the questions, then they answer it themselves, really. So that's how. And then obviously there are lots of techniques. So if like someone's got low confidence, there's techniques we can do for that. Sometimes you might have a bit of confliction, like you might be in business. Do I do that? Do I not do that? Don't know if I can, can't afford it, or whatever. And then there's techniques we can do for that. So obviously there are techniques, but obviously until that client's there, it's a little bit like you don't know what's going to come up in each session. So you can plan a little bit, but then you might be thrown off track. So
it sounds very much like what Lee and I do, doesn't it, Lee? It sounds a bit like kind of therapy, doesn't it? You know, asking right questions, maybe some techniques. It sounds very much like therapy. But by using NLP.
Yeah, because there's what you're saying there, Joanne, the way, and what you were saying there about just asking the open questions and everything is because you're saying that they've got the answers on themselves. Because everybody knows deep within themselves who they are and what they want. It's just we just help them out with the right questions, because everybody's there. We're not the experts. Everybody's their own expert. It's just supporting them, bringing that out and getting it out in front of them and letting them hear it for themselves, because they know what they want.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, Joanne, NLP was part of your healing journey? Have you kind of been on the receiving end of NLP?
Oh, definitely. So how I got into that, because I'm not going to lie, I didn't know what NLP even was.
No.
I back this year, I've had a lot of confliction in my health and wellness business, and I wasn't feeling right, lots going on, and I wanted to quit. A few of my friends are life coaches, and I messaged some of them, what courses have you done? I'm thinking of doing it. Something I wanted to do for a while now. And one messaged me and said, what about NLP? I'm not going to lie, didn't know what it was, so I had to Google it.
Mm.
And one of my friends on her Facebook that I've dealt with before, she had NLP. So I messaged her about it. And she said, yes, me and Lou do it together. So one does the NLP and then the other one does the strategy side and business related and stuff like that. So she said, I'm going to send you a free video over to watch. But yeah, okay, fine. She sent it over, and obviously a lot of it I didn't understand at the time, because we're going back 3 months ago, but it said thoughts become things. And I just went to law of attraction. Yeah. And that's lit and I always go with my gut.
Yeah.
You'll hear people say, like, your gut's like your second brain. So if my gut says yes, then I'll go with it. And it just felt right. So that's how I got into it. But yes, it taught me so much about awareness about myself. And that was a lot of my journey to my healing. And I'm actually having NLP therapy myself as well.
Yeah.
With the same lady that taught me. So I'm 7 weeks into my.
Oh, wow.
So it's amazing, because I'm obviously the client as well now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I get to feel what other people are feeling.
Yeah.
And I had a break 7 weeks ago. I had a breakthrough day. It was like a whole day. And I went from having panic attacks, triggers all the time, like my nervous system was all over the place, fight and flight, to calm and at peace in that one day.
Yeah. What made the difference then? What was it about that day? What happened? Do you know?
I don't know. We just literally dug right down. I knew really what the issue was. And again, I had it in me. I knew what was wrong, but I had so much confliction and I couldn't really face it, because obviously it's that pain again. And she did some techniques on me. So we did, I'll tell you what we did do, timeline to get rid of a lot of, like, so we got rid of like anger, a lot of the horrible feelings, anger, sadness and stuff like that, guilt. We did that first, and then we did some NLP techniques. And yeah, I was just calm, at peace. And since then, so I had one day and then 11 weeks followed. Since then, I've been having, like, basically to keep like my mind flexible.
Right.
I'm still calm, but I still need that work to keep it going and to keep my brain flexible. So there are a few techniques, and this is how I get my clients to do. I brush my teeth with my non-dominant hand.
I've heard of that recently. Yeah. What does that do?
So it helps, like, keep your brain flexible, and it's about your sensory like skills. Also, so I don't do this one a lot, but sometimes I go into the bathroom, I have my shower, get dressed, etc., with my eyes closed, because again, it makes your brain work. So another skill that I'm going to use as well, haven't done it yet, I need to book in, but crocheting.
Right.
This is, so that helps your motor skills, part of your brain.
Yeah,
to keep
I can see that. Yeah.
I have tried YouTube videos, they're not working great, so I'm going to book in for some classes instead.
Yeah, do it with a real life class. So what is it about keeping the brain flexible that is helpful then? Why is that a benefit, to keep the brain flexible?
So when we're trying to say, like, change habits, so say, look, with the diet, you're trying to change eating habits, or maybe fitness journey, anything. When you're trying to change that, it's so easy to go straight back into that old habit. That's what we're doing. So by keeping it flexible, it keeps them habits, it keeps your brain working, so it keeps them habits. It's easier to go into them habits and keep them on the daily basis.
I'm with you, yeah. Rather than just defaulting back.
That's it. Otherwise, you're straight back into that old habits. So
Yeah. So it seems like you're very excited about it.
I am, yeah,
Yeah.
especially since I've been having my own therapy as well.
Yeah.
So I'm quite open that I have my own therapy as well, because again, it allows me to understand what I'm putting them through.
Yeah.
So it's like I've felt it both sides. So yeah, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So, it's like living it inside out. So you're not just not talking about it. Actually, you're living proof, aren't you? You're actually walking the walk.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm living proof it works, because obviously I've done it and it works. So
yeah. And
yeah.
it sounds like, you know, you've had a difficult childhood and an early start to life, and then you've kind of like found something that can move you away from that. I guess you'd say perhaps turning away from pain and more into power. And now, like, you're helping other people to kind of follow a similar journey for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at your Facebook, I think it was on your Facebook page. You have this title of the Power Queen.
Yeah.
What's the Power Queen then? Where did that come from? What's that mean?
So before, my Instagram that was just my name.
Right.
Then obviously I wrote my book, and that was Turn Your Pain into Power. And that came before the coaching was ever even on the radar. So I was still in health and wellness then. And then I was just like, I need a name for it. And I was messaging my friend, and we just came up with Power Queen. It just makes sense. It's just who I am. I'm all about, like, obviously power. It's in the name. I didn't want to start a new Instagram page or anything like that, because people know me. So I just changed my name on Instagram. So I've still got the same account. But yeah, it just made sense. Someone said to me, I think God knows what it was. Somebody said to me, you're the queen of power. And I think it was the girl that I did the book with. So, and I was going to do like something else, but there's lots of names on Instagram already taken with power in.
Yeah.
And things. So you have to, like, be careful. So yeah, so the power queen, I messaged again my friend. I was like, what can I add? Because this is taken. And she was like, what about the power queen? I put it in. I went, yeah, it's in there. It's not, it's available. So we'll go with that. And yeah, it just feels right. It feels like me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great phrase. It's catchy, isn't it? Certainly, it sparked my curiosity.
And it sounds like you've empowered yourself, Joanne, and now you're empowering other people as well.
Yeah.
So it does fit.
It does. And again, it's like obviously your podcast, like you're being authentic.
Yeah.
Like that's something that I've really literally come into in the last 2-3 months since qualifying NLP and having my own therapy. It was like I always felt like I had to sort of shrink myself and stuff. Like I was like that a lot, but now I'm not. I'm who I am. I am authentic. Like what I put on social media is right. I like people to know when I've had a bad day or a bit of a roller coaster of a week, because it's normal. Just because I'm the power queen and I've healed myself, or for whatever reason, doesn't mean we don't have them bad days, but that's okay.
Absolutely. You know, I think there's sometimes a misconception in the world that Lee and I are in, you know, the therapist community, where sometimes people think that all therapists are going to be absolutely sorted and have no problems, which of course is just not the case. You know, we have lives and past and histories and struggles just like everybody else does. But I think the key in our work is being self-aware. So it's like knowing that we're having a bad day, perhaps knowing why it's a bad day, knowing what we can do to support ourselves on a bad day, so that we can be okay in ourselves and then still be there for other people in our work. So it sounds like you're kind of following a similar journey to that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely self-aware. Like so I clean part-time as well, so I run that as well. And I was looking for work this week, and I was a bit sad. Nothing, mate. There's nothing wrong. I was just sad. Ended up crying in the middle of the work. No one was there. It's just me. But I was like, why am I sad? What can I do about this? And then I'll take a step back, and I might do some self-care. I'll go for a walk, because I'm huge on like the beach or like nature. Yeah, learning how, and that's how we do it. We sort of had them bad days, but that's okay. But how do we get out of that? And how to look after our well-being so that we can then help others.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, being sad is not a bad thing. It's an absolutely normal part of being human. We'll have sad days, happy days, good days, bad days. We'll be angry and calm. All of that is absolutely normal, isn't it? It's not that that's a bad thing. It's just a normal thing.
Yeah, definitely. But I was always told that, or I was always surrounded by people that you weren't allowed to be like sad or this, and it was negative. Or but in the end, I learned myself, like, it's not negative, it's okay. And when I'm having them bad days, I'm like, it's okay because something better's coming. Or when I'm in them dark moments, I'll just take a step back and that's it, and then I'm good to go again.
Yeah.
But like, obviously, look yourself, as with therapists, we have to look after our own well-being first.
Pretty important, isn't it?
Can't help others.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it's going back to what you're saying as well just now, Joanne, as well. And I think what Mark was saying as well, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel disappointed. Just like it's okay to feel empowered and joyous and happy. They're all going to be, they're just all natural feelings. And we're going to feel that sadness and disappointment and the empowerment and joy many times in our life. So it's just about getting that different relationship with it and being okay with it. But as we know then, and knowing how we can do to be compassionate ourselves and support ourselves. Because if we can't take care of ourselves, we're not going to be able to take care of anyone else around us either. So, so it's very important. So I hear you say, Joanne, about going on to that step as well, as like saying, so then you can like walk to the beach, going out walks in nature, you like going to the gym, helping other people. But you also say that you also use gratitude and meditation as well. So can you tell us a little bit about the gratitude and meditation?
Yeah, so I don't meditate for a long period of time. And again, I always thought meditation was you calm your thoughts. You don't. You can't really calm your thoughts, but it's just learning to sit with them, and just like resting with them thoughts. So I'm not going to lie, I am a little bit of a terrible meditator, because if I do it for too long, I fall asleep. I get so relaxed, I just sit through it. So I generally do in the mornings 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long period of time. It's not something you have to listen to for an hour. So I will do 10 minutes in the morning, which is a bit like a manifesting meditation that I do, and just to kickstart my day. And then at night when I go to sleep, it's generally a manifesting one. But at night, again, it's manifesting, but I'll just put it on, because when you go to sleep and you're listening to something positive, like lots of people might go to bed listening to music, or they might like be on their phone or watching a film. But when you go to sleep and before you go to sleep, like them 10 minutes is when your subconscious takes in a lot. So I put it on when I go to sleep, and then I generally fall asleep listening to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a phrase in what you said there, Joanne, that kind of, I forgot what it was now. There was something really interesting you said. It'll come back to me. So there's something in the meditation that sets you up for gratitude. Is there? Or is that a separate practice?
No. So I obviously look with gratitude. If anyone would want to start anywhere, I always give them gratitude to start with as well, because the more you're grateful for, the more you have to be grateful for. Whereas so I always so first thing in the morning, I'm an early girl, so I am at 3 a.m. I get up at 3 a.m. I'm at the gym by 4. Then I come home and then I do my meditation and then I do my gratitude. So gratitude, I will write sort of 10 things, and it could be like, I'm grateful that I'm able-bodied and I can go to the gym, or might be I'm grateful for that cup of coffee or for my dog. So it doesn't have to be a lot, but if you're grateful, so you've got a roof over your head. If you woke up today, you've got a roof over your head, you've got something to be grateful for, and you've got food on the table. It's little things like that. But the more you're grateful, if you can't be grateful, you can't be positive and negative at the same time. So if you're feeling grateful, then you're not feeling negative. So
it's true, isn't it? Yeah.
But I agree what you're saying there, Joanne, because you say it's about being grateful for the little things, but for the big things. I think those are the things that people forget about. Just being grateful that I'm grateful that I've got a set of eyes that I can see both you and Mark right now, and I've got ears to hear you both. You know, and like you said, and then and I might have some food on the table. I've got a roof over me. It's not about being grateful because because I got a car and I got a house and I got a holiday. It's just being grateful for being able to breathe and be able to see. These are things to be really grateful for. That's a good starting point.
I think it is, and I love that idea. I must have known it, but it's just like the way you just said it kind of really brought it home. Like, you can't be positive and negative at the same time. Never thought about that, I don't think. But you can't, can you? You can't be thinking about what you're grateful for and what you're appreciating, and at the same time be thinking about how bad it is.
Yeah.
You can't do both at the same time, can you? No, it's a really good point.
No, that's exactly right. Because when I speak and work with people sometimes, and we look at do self-talk, and especially when people can get caught up, they're really aware that their mindset is very negative or distorted, and or catastrophizing all the time. And we come in with their positive statements. These positive statements can be a number of things, but we just start to practice 2 or 3, and we can build them up. But it's exactly what you say, because when you're thinking positive stuff, you can't think of the negative stuff at the same time. Your brain can't do both.
No.
So it's a good way of, a bit like yourself, Joanne, as well, about the NLP, and it's about rewiring. So if you're continuously thinking those positive things, you can't do the other thing at the same time. So it's taking you away, and at the same time helping you rewire your thought process up.
That's it.
It makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me too. I just love the way you said it so simply. It's just like, oh, of course. Often the most profound things are quite simple, aren't they? And I guess, Joanne, that kind of links back to what you were saying earlier about brain flexibility, doesn't it? Like, retraining the brain, that, for those of us who've experienced trauma early in our lives, it's very easy for the brain to kind of follow pathways of fear, or pessimistic pathways, or self-protective pathways. It's very easy for our brain to follow those paths because they would have been created, wouldn't they? So I guess gratitude is kind of creating new pathways in the brain that might be, I don't know, more helpful or more optimistic.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That's what I was going to say, to create new neural pathways, so we don't have the old ones, we don't go back to the old patterns. So
yeah. Sounds like to me you've gone down a very practical path of healing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it feels like that to you, like you've done, the gym and NLP and positivity, gratitude, you've gone down a very positive kind of proactive path with it, like practicalities.
Yeah. And it has been a long journey. It's a long process. It's not like a 5-minute thing.
No.
It's obviously, look, even though you have therapy, you still have to put the work in. So daily. So obviously that's why I'll do the meditation. I'll do it daily. You can't do it once and then obviously expect to get great results. It's something, our brains are something we have to work on all of the time.
Is it 21 days to create a new belief or a new thought path or something? I'm sure I came across 21 days.
I actually just signed up to James Clear. He did Atomic Habits, and I was just reading an email from him this morning, and it says that some people say it's 21 days, some people say it's this many days. He said it's as many days as it takes you to do it consistently without a break.
Oh, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? So it's down to the individuals to decide how long it takes. Yeah.
I think it a little bit differently in that way. Well, similar, but a little bit differently. I say to people, this is a daily practice for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Because can you imagine? It depends if we go back about the our past traumas or difficulties and our pattern of behavior that we've created. That could have been for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, and that's what we say it's a default. Now, if we're learning new tools and techniques and practices that work, well, what happens if we stop using those tools, those new tools and techniques and practices? The only thing we got to fall back on is the old ways, because it's still in there. So it's very important just to keep these daily rituals, tools, and practices that we got now. Because if we don't, we'll just fall backwards into our old ways. So for me, it's a daily practice, consistently.
For the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life.
That's a daily practice for the rest of your life. I like that.
Yeah. I think Joanne and me might be nicking that phrase, Lee.
You can have it. There's no copyright.
Ideal, thanks. Yeah, we'll nick that one then. So I was thinking, Joanne, is there anything that you could offer, like right now, that listeners to this might be able to use? Like, I don't know, any tips or techniques so that listeners could turn their pain into power? So I know we've talked about, gratitude and meditation and perhaps NLP. I don't know, what would your top tips be for people turning their power into pain? Other way around, even pain to power.
Yeah. So one, I would say you have to be ready. So you have to be at that point where you're ready for that, because you are going to feel that pain.
Yeah.
You've got to feel it and sit with them feelings again, and obviously work through them. Otherwise, so you have talking therapies in the past. I've had loads of that. That's like putting a plaster on it. You have to really dig it out, get through it. So you have to be ready. So I would say that firstly.
Right.
And so what I did, obviously, so before NLP, I even knew anything. 3 years ago, I started my healing journey then. So it took me 3 years to get to this point. And 3 years ago, I was out with my family, they're narcissists, and I hired a narcissist counsellor.
Wow.
So that's when my therapy actually started, with narcissism. And again, she had been through it herself.
Yeah.
So for me, someone that's been through it and can relate to you is way more value than somebody that's got a piece of paper with a degree or whatever, that has no trauma. So I would say find someone who is where you are, but who has been through that and they're out the other side now and where you want to be. Follow them on social media and do whatever, or find someone to work with. But I would say hire a therapist.
Yeah.
100%. 100%, because would I be sat here now if I'd never hired a therapist? No, I wouldn't.
No, totally agree.
I'd still be like a roller coaster. I'd still be suffering with depression, and I'd still be in that place. So finding a therapist is the best thing that I've ever done.
Oh, wonderful.
So I would do that. But before that, again, I'm going to say gratitude.
Gratitude.
So yes, you've got a lot of stuff going on, maybe, but what are you grateful for? There's always something in your day to be grateful for. Always. And when you're in that low place, you do have to dig deeper. It doesn't always come naturally. And obviously I said I wrote 10 things, but even if you start with 3, if you've never done gratitude, then just start with 3 things.
And they can be simple, like we were saying. It could be, appreciating a bird outside the window, or whatever, being able to see the bird outside the window. It can be really simple things, can't it?
Because even like my job, like my cleaning, that's not my passion. I do that for now alongside everything else. That's not my passion, but I still am grateful. Some days I might think, I want to go today, but then I'm like, thank you, universe, for having the job in the first place. So it's like, if you've got money coming in, there's always something to be grateful for, even when you don't really want to. And sometimes it takes a lot of work to feel gratitude if you're still living in the past. Is living in the past, and anxiety is living in the future. So my goal with clients is to get them to live in the present.
It's all we've got, really. If you think about it, the past has gone, the future may or may never come, we don't know, but we have got now. So it's like in this moment, how am I? What can I be grateful for? What can I appreciate? What can I sit with?
Well, that brings me in to yourself, Joanne, as well, and the power queen, because I think I'm told that would say the power of now. So so it's about living in the present moment.
I think it is. We are coming to the end of this episode, Joanne. The time's gone so quick, hasn't it? Where are you based?
So I'm in Portsmouth.
In Portsmouth, so the south coast of England. And
I'm literally 5 minutes from the beach.
Do you? Yeah, very nice. And do you work online or just in person? How could people contact you if they wanted to?
So I do work online. At the moment, if they're in Portsmouth, a lot of them like face to face. So I've got clients that come to my house because I work obviously from home, do face to face online. I've got some courses coming up as well.
So it's basically head over to your Facebook community, and then people can get in touch from there, can't they? And your book, From the Ashes, where would people find your book if they wanted to read your story?
So not in the shops. You can only get it from me.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
Maybe we'll put the link in the show notes. So we can put the link to the book in the show notes, so it'll be beneath this podcast when people have a look at it. Well, thanks so much, Joanne, for joining us today. It's been really inspiring to hear your story, and I can certainly see why you call it from pain to power. So thank you for sharing your story and your tips and advice with us.
Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Thank you.
Thank you. And so if you have enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like or subscribe, depending on where you're watching or listening this, because then you won't miss any further episodes. So we'll see you again on the next episode of Your Authentic Self.
We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. If anything you have heard has resonated with you, you would like to explore more, or have found difficult, you can get in touch with us. Our details are in the show notes below, along with some other useful links.